moment. I've got to share this, and then I'll be right there with you. Morning, Mike, Robin, Chezzy, some other people I saw come in. I couldn't get the names. Renee, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Hope you had a great weekend. What you're seeing there on the screen, hey Beth, hey Janice, is a book that, again, if you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, or children of your own that you would like to share this book with by buying it for them for Christmas as a little stocking stuffer, I promise you they're going to love it. This is a book that gives nothing but positivity to children who need it desperately in the world that we live in today. So that's please think about getting that for Christmas, for holidays, for birthdays, anything else like that that you think that would be a good holiday gift for them. And also, don't forget, we still have an opportunity to get 10% off a minimum of a $20 purchase. And this is something also that if, for example, you are, if you're looking to um, get something for Christmas for yourself, somebody else, this would be a good present to get them. A lot of gear with Trump gear. I know I talked to the man who owns the company. He did say that he makes donations to the Trump organization. And so, if some people had asked me about that, so yes, in fact, he says that he does. And so, again, if you're worried about like where the money goes on it, he's told me where it goes. So, anyway, good morning. I hope you take advantage of that. Again, it is 10% off a minimum of $20 purchase. And I have gotten a lot of Trump gear, which I will be wearing later on this week. So, hey, Monica. Hey, Lori. Everybody that came in. I didn't see everybody that came in. Hey, Michael, thanks for the super hearts that I'll probably never receive, but thank you for the thought anyway. Uh, Beth, I'm a Trump supporter, so I might be interested in that. Yeah, neocon. I look at what I've gotten. Oh my gosh, look, here's two things that I've gotten. Two great Trump hats. Keep America Great and Trump 2020. I mean, it's really good quality. I've gotten T-shirts from there. They have just about everything that you want to get from press for President Trump. I mean, there's, my gosh, there's even rags, there's decals, there's everything, anything and everything that you want. Hey, Harley Guy, love your shirt. Thank you, Clara. Danielle, good to see you. Okay, so we're going to start out with some breaking news after I read Psalm 82. Just going to read a little bit of that, and then we'll get started. God stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Free them from the hand of the wicked. They do not know, nor do they understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are unstable. I said, you are gods, and all of your children are the most of the Most High. But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations. Amen. Psalm 82. I'm 6'8" tall. I want to see someone try and snatch my hat. Listen, if there's ever a Trump rally in California that you're going to and I'm going to at the same time, I will search you out and stay near you so I will feel protected from all the masses there. That's Gracie saying good morning, everybody. Hey, Tim, good morning. Miss Katrina, good to see you. All right, so we have some breaking news. It's not the news I'd want to bring you. No room for trolls today. Exactly, Clara. Just right before we went on, a federal appeals court on Monday ruled that President Trump cannot block the Manhattan District Attorney's Office from subpoenaing his accounting firm for financial records. Now, this was the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. A three-judge panel said on Monday that presidential immunity does not bar the enforcement of a state grand jury subpoena directing a third party to produce a non-privileged material, even when the subject matter under investigation pertains to the president. But the court noted they were not ruling on all of the sweeping claims of immunity that the president's lawyers claim. So, I know, Beth, it's just... It's just one more thing where we see the courts trying to take over the executive branch. I mean, that's what it is. Good Monday morning, Pamela. How are you? So I'm afraid that we're going to probably see more of that as time goes on. Hey, Kim. Clara said, "I'm 5 feet tall, 70 years old. I will wear my Trump gear forever." Clara said, "Yep." So it goes, Harley. And now now you know why President Trump wants to get out of New York. I mean, it's a witch hunt in New York. They're going to continue the witch hunt that goes on federally, and the courts are helping them do that. So he's probably going to have to try to take this on up to the Supreme Court. I made it to number 3, super fan of Susan. Yay, Wayne said. Can't he appeal the decision? He'd have to appeal it to the Supreme Court probably at this point. I don't, we'll see what they take, or the Supreme. It's Yeah, the Supreme Court, I think, would be the next stop. Presidential harassment. Yep. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. Yep, presidential harassment, and we're going to see more and more and more of it. We're going to, as time goes on, we see just lawlessness everywhere we turn. Anyone near where Rudy is, he is almost invincible, Harley Guy said. Here, anyone here where Rudy is, he's almost invincible. Doing well, just tired. Long weekend, Pamela. Barbara says, morning crew. Those thugs never quit. Nope, they don't ever quit because, as we've talked about with the progressives in the schools, they started a long, long time ago in the early 1900s, late 1800s, and they have no intentions of quitting. Just know that even if Trump is impeached in the House, nothing will really happen if of any substance, Neocon said. Yeah, well, you never know. You never know how squirrely some of these people in the Senate might turn. I would rather it not get to the Senate so that we have to even think about that, but I do agree with you. It's ridiculous now how we have 2 sets of laws, Kim said. Absolutely. This is a long time plan going on. Yep, Indiana here. Good morning, Patsy. Good to see you. Patsy Birds over on Facebook. True too, Susan Beth said. Yeah, it's better. People always say, well, we can go do this and it'll end up and we won't have any trouble here. I don't like to even think about those things. Let's just stop it here. Hey, Aussie Nick. But I don't think that anything is going to stop. It just doesn't seem like that. Tim said President Trump's attorneys must be ever vigilant. Absolutely. And I'm sure they're working overtime. I do know that something that happened over the weekend, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. This was actually done over the telephone, which is not something that's good to do ever. Hey guys, hey Lee, good to see you. So now let's start out with some lighter things first, and then we'll get into the heavy duty stuff. I like to get the Monday morning started off a little bit lighter. Okay, so this is a tweet from the president this morning who said, when they were talking about this Jeffrey Gutterman said, on this day, November 4th in 2008, Barack Obama was elected president of the United States, blah, 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 blah. And then he talked about Covfefe, and Mish Rochelle said Covfefe, Twitter.com, and it was about it being a mistweet and a horse winning a race 6 out of 8 times whose name was Covfefe. And President Trump said, that's great, but how do you know it was a mistweet? Maybe something with deeper meaning. So the president is trying to lead a little bit of a conspiracy theory for Monday morning for us. So I think that's, who knows whether he's serious or whether he's just joking. Trauma Mama said Covfefe act. Yeah, you never know with him what he's doing. I know. I mean, he did say it. So we'll see. Hey, Jerry, I didn't see you come in. All right, so that's another thing that he had here. Now, here's some things that President Trump is doing that I think are really worth mentioning, which is almost everything he does because he does so much that nobody really seems to, on the left anyway, give him any credit for, which is something that we know that they will always do. Here we go. So President Trump Thousands of migrants who have been sent back to Mexico to wait for court to process their asylum claims under the Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy are starting to voluntarily return home, according to a new report released by the Department of Homeland Security. Now, that's really great news. That these people who were sent to Mexico, that President Trump again had the brilliant idea of sending them over to Mexico to wait until they were processed, are now saying, you know what, this could be forever. I'm not willing to wait. I'm just going to turn around and go home. It's great news. The Customs and Border Protection said over 55,000 immigrants had been sent to Mexico under the program. So President Trump sent 55,000 people over to Mexico to wait until they were processed. And out of the 55,000, only currently remaining are 20,000 people. So 35,000 people said, I'm out of here. I'm not going to wait. Really good news for the United States. And they said only about 20,000 people now are sheltered in northern Mexico near the U.S. border waiting to enter the U.S. This has led the department to conclude that aliens without meritorious claims, which no longer constitute a free ticket into the United States, are beginning to voluntarily return home. So they just figured, I'm going to get there, I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to wait and wait and wait. And when I get there, I don't have a legitimate claim, is what they're saying. And Jiggy Joka thinks America is declining big time, and that's why they are returning willingly. I don't think so, because no matter if that's true in your opinion or not, it's still better than the third world crap hole that they came from. Sorry to be so graphic. Well, shouldn't they apply from home? Well, they could have, Monica, but that's not what the whole thing was about. It was like put all of these people on a caravan and let's just get them here. That George Soros and everybody else. Neocon said, I wish we would just round up all illegal immigrants and deport them as soon as humanly possible. Yeah, Neocon, but that would never happen. The ACLU would be out there, and the UCLA too, probably. Couldn't wait, really needed to come. Exactly, Alan. Yeah, so that's good news. And also some other good news with President Trump. He just keeps on with the winning ticket. He's approved a plan. Now listen to this, because this is really something that we haven't seen in quite a while. He's approved a plan to reduce the cap for refugee admissions to the country for fiscal year 2020 to only 18,000. This is the lowest level on record since the program began more than 3 decades ago, only allowing in 18,000 people. I mean, I'm just blown away by that. Again, President Trump is doing what he said he was doing. It was a way of overwhelming our system with bogus asylum claims. Exactly, Neocon. It was also a way to get the left to get new potential voters. So, it was a whole bunch of things. Subliminal Susan Beth said. Yeah, so I think this is absolutely great news. Now, with every great bit of news that we have, there seems to be always the ever leering, I don't know, what do you want to call it? People on the left, who can never quit trying to undo what President Trump has done. In this case, it was Michael H. Simon from Oregon. Has anybody heard about Michael Simon and what happened over the weekend? And bring in more destabilizing Muslims as well. Tim said, Trump is a trickster. Yeah, can't say do not come, then give more benefits than needy U.S. citizens, Janice said. Bet on the horse, Barbara said. Thank goodness Trump is doing that. Yep, Kim, exactly. So what happened over the weekend, which is something totally unusual, never really done in the court system, and that's what makes it even more unusual. This judge here decided that he was going to hear a case that was essentially, it was filed on hold on one second. Sorry. It was filed on Wednesday of last week. And On Saturday, the federal judge temporarily barred President Donald Trump from requiring immigrant visa seekers to prove that they can get health insurance hours before the mandate was to take effect. This mandate was to take effect on Sunday. So these people filed, seven plaintiffs from across the nation, California, New York, other places. They went in and said, look, if this happens, we're going to essentially shut down immigration. And also, President Trump is doing things and saying things uh, that is really part of what Congress should do. And it shouldn't be up to the president to do that. Yeah, Obama appointed judge, absolutely, in Oregon. So again, that's another bad sign. But let's see. So he's got a 28-day temporary restraining order. And the proclamation says that basically because it's been stopped, we need to jail any person that are harboring illegal aliens, Michael said. So basically what has happened is for 28 days, President Trump is not going to be able to enact this. Anybody who doesn't have insurance, may have insurance, may not be able to get insurance, or whatever the case may be, is going to continue to be allowed into the United States, even though they can't afford to maybe buy their own insurance or have the financial resources to take care of themselves with their, any health reasons. So, I don't know about you guys, but in California, usually the emergency rooms are filled with people who are refugees, illegals, whatever, runs a whole gamut of people who don't have insurance, who go and use the emergency room like a doctor's office. And, it bankrupts the hospitals for the most part. And they're going to continue to be able to do that. So it'll be interesting to see afterwards if it's something that they're going to fight and say, no, we're just going to let Congress do this, and that's it. All right. So tonight, for all of you lucky people who live in, let me see if I can bring this up, who live in Kentucky, you have a rally tonight, and then voting for tomorrow. I hope everybody gets out there and votes. President Trump had something to say about the rally and who's up for re-election. He starts out with walking into Madison Square Garden last night with Dana White for the big UFC championship fight. Was a little bit like walking into a Trump rally. Plenty of MAGA and CAG present. Great energy. Fantastic job, Dana. Heading to D.C. and then to Kentucky for a big Matt Bevin rally. Remember also that people were trying to say there were a bunch of boos and when he walked into the arena. And so that's why he had to mention that. So the continuation is Matt has been a great governor of Kentucky. In parentheses, I love you. Please be sure to vote for Matt Bevin on Tuesday. Matt will never let you down. And we have to send a strong signal to Nancy Pelosi and the radical left Democrats. See you on Monday night. Vote on Tuesday. And I hope people are there in Kentucky supporting him, and that they will vote for Matt Bevin on Tuesday. Now here's one more that he had. Big rally in Kentucky tonight for a man who has worked really hard and done a great job. Governor Matt Bevin. Kentucky is having the best economic year ever under Matt's leadership. He's a fantastic guy who loves our military, our vets, and our Second Amendment. Vote on Tuesday. So glad that he gave some plugs, well-deserved plugs to Matt Bevin. Hopefully everybody who is in Kentucky will have the sense to go out and vote for Matt Bevin. So we need to win back that. We need to win back everything. And when we take back the House, when we win that, Jerry, we need to make sure that the Republicans that we have in place aren't going to be these mealy-mouthed Republicans that we had before, that even though we had the majority, they didn't do their jobs. So if they're not going to do their jobs, it's not going to help us to win back the House, though we absolutely have to have that. And I want to show you, too, this is when President Trump walked into that UFC championship that was going on. And when people were saying, oh, that everybody was booing him and et cetera, et cetera. Here's a show of what people were doing. People, I don't have the sound, but this is from Donald Trump Jr. For all the haters that keep pretending it was only cheers by us in the first video and boos elsewhere, here's another one from higher up. Nice try, fake news. Faker's gonna fake, but you're only driving home the point that you guys are biased beyond repair. And I say absolutely so. So you see that people are waving, they're not booing, they're not shooting the bird, or anything else like that. They're actually enjoying the fact that it's the president and they're showing their respect. And you would expect at a UFC fight like that they would be more, pro-Republican conservatives there than liberals. I mean, that just stands to reason. So they're just making it up. Let's see. Let me read a couple things that you have here. It's correct. Susan Jerry said, true. We need Republicans with backbone. Happy Minimalist said, yep. No more flakes, no Romneys. A spineless rep is almost as bad as a dim Republican. Yes, neocon. They're basically the same. That's why they call them rhinos. Republican in name only. That's what they are. Kentucky wouldn't vote anyone else but a Republican, would they? I don't know, Aussie Nick. We'll see. They shouldn't, but we'll see. Hey, Luann. Good morning, Susan. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Luann, for your support and being here. Limitless is their first day on Periscope. Welcome. All right, so let's get on to some more stuff here. So we're having a whole bunch of problems, it seems like, with the whistleblower. We have the attorneys for a whistleblower that, we're not supposed to know his name or anything else, but somehow we know his name, and somehow the attorneys are coming out and trying to protect him. But, if he's not the whistleblower, what are you protecting him for? I mean, it makes no sense. What they're trying to do is squash the First Amendment right to speak up about the whistleblower, because the attorneys are starting to say, wow, if you say anything bad about the whistleblower, our client, then we're going to come after each and every one of you. We're going to come after individuals. We're going to come after the media, et cetera, et cetera. It's craziness is what it is. Hey, Carol. So, he's deep state, Barbara said. Yeah, well, sure seems that way with the connections that we talked about. Hey, Yuri, good to see you. But I've never seen, hey, Kim, the only time that, defamation or things of that nature is when there's no truth behind it. There's truth behind all of this. Now, they're not saying they're necessarily going to sue for defamation. They're saying, we're going to sue if you mention his name and, oh, by the way, he happens to get hurt, or, Hillary happens to have tea with him or something, which is crazy. Try to link everybody into that is going to be very hard for them to do. Not to say that they wouldn't try, but it's going to be very, very difficult for them to try to say something like that actually occurred. So, again, I think it's just to get you to stop talking about the whistleblower is the whole idea. All right. So, and President Trump had something to say on the subject. He said that the fake news media is working hard so that information about the whistleblower's identity, which may be very bad for them and their Democrat partners, never reaches the public. And I know last week he also said that there's some other information that's coming on the whistleblower. So we'll see if and when that comes out. It would certainly just get it out there. If we have some stuff, just get it out there. I thought his name has been mentioned everywhere. Well, it has, Carol. It has. And his attorneys now are saying, don't mention his name. Stop that. The liberals are panicking and desperately trying to get him out of office. Oh, yeah. He's only saying his thoughts so he can be discarded. How fake deal, Barbara said. I'm not sure who you were who were referring to. Probably the attorney Eric and the client Eric. Supposed client, the guy who doesn't really exist. Okay, so now also the whistleblower through his attorneys said that he's willing to answer questions submitted to Republicans under oath, and I guess basically saying that the inspector general can verify, but they don't want him to know, they don't want anybody else to know who he is. And the Republicans so far have said, no, thank you. That's just ridiculous. Anybody could write those. Anybody could help him write those. Not a good thing if the Republicans went along with it. So glad they didn't. Don't have tea with Hillary. You might get sick and die, Wayne said. That's always a possibility. I agree with Bannon in the Bartiromo interview. This fake impeachment hearing is going to explode all over the D.C. Democrats, Tim said. They totally know they cannot win, Happy Minimalist said. Yeah. So funny it was not a reporter, but an independent that figured it out. Yeah, isn't it funny? Because, you know, the mainstream media is basically gone, and we all know that. And so we can't rely on the mainstream media ever again. Have to go. I'm going to follow you. Thank you, Neocon. Great broadcast. Thank you so much. So, yeah, kind of ridiculous. I hope that Periscope isn't freezing for everybody. Is everybody still on Periscope? Whistleblower name will eventually come out. It already has, Michael. It already has. So they just don't want you to keep saying it. That's the problem. Let's see what some of you are saying here. Okay, I've caught up. Bannon interview was good. Marianne said, yeah, so, you know, I know he has a new podcast too and everything. The media is a shill for the Democrat Party. They really are. I mean, there's no denying that at all. They really are. Okay, cool. Not freezing for you. That's good. It's just freezing for me, but that's okay. As long as it's working for you guys and it's freezing for me, that is fine. Let's see. You're frozen, but we hear you. Well, that's not good. You're freezing. Means that they're trying to shut me down, y'all. They're trying to shut me down. I don't think I can fix it, but let me try. I might really fix it and go off altogether. If I do, oh well, I guess we'll just suffer through, but hopefully this will work. Let's see what happens. Okay, we'll see if we can get caught up. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Freezing for you also. Yeah, I think it may happen that way for a little while. You know, people are getting frozen out of their Facebook accounts. So it's probably better that this freezes a little bit than getting totally frozen out altogether. Freezing isn't interrupting your conversation. Okay, well, that's cool. All right. So another news, Iran is still the world's worst state-sponsored sponsor of terrorism, according to a new report published by the U.S. Department of State on November 1. The country reports on terrorism 2018 says Iran has spent nearly $1 billion, $1 billion, thank you, Obama, annually to support terrorist groups that serve as its proxies and expands its malign influence across the globe. So we gave them money. Some say $150 billion. Others say it's somewhere between $50 and $100 billion. But nonetheless, they have $1 billion to spend to support terrorist groups. In particular, the country's capital city of Tehran supports the Lebanese Shiite movement, Hezbollah, and the Palestinian fundamentalist Islamic groups Hamas and Islamic Jihad. So there you go. So all of the people that are, can harm the United States, that are a detriment to us, that's who they support. So there you go. And when I say they, want to make it perfectly clear, and I know we've talked about this before, it is not talking about the people of Iran. The people of Iran, a lot of them are starting to come to God. And it's the government that is corrupt, and they're not in support of the government. I couldn't get Periscope to load, so I came over to YouTube. Happy Minimalist said, yeah, Periscope's back up now, Happy Minimalist, and running pretty well. So the pictures is kind of grainy. Hillary was yesterday in Austin. You would be surprised how many brainwashed people was online. No, Yuri, I wouldn't. After what I saw about the Austin Independent School District, no, nothing would surprise me about what's going on in Austin. It's quite a shame. And it's, what can you say? Austin is extremely liberal, and it's not surprising at all. It's sad, but it's not surprising. You are fuzzy now. I know. I'm trying to get it a little bit fixed better. So we're going in and out. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it Same with China. Yeah, a bunch of dumb women, Barbara said about Austin. I don't know what's wrong with people. I've basically tried to. Austin is a sanctuary city. Yeah, Colleen, and so is all of California is a it's a sanctuary state, unfortunately. And we're trying very hard, to get rid of people keep saying, why do people in California keep voting for these people and blah blah blah. Got a lot of Democrats here, and again, a lot of illegals here. And thanks to President Ronald Reagan, who I adored, and he admitted because of his amnesty deal, he ruined California as far as it being a Republican state. We used to be very pro Republican in California, especially in Southern California. San Diego was very pro Republican. Their motto is keep Austin weird. Well, they're doing a good job at it. You have to give them credit for that, Happy. Austin was a big leftist university, tainting the city for many years. Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay. So let's see. Oh gosh, we can't go into uh, the new daylight savings time. Going off of that for those of you who follow that, and unless we listen, sometimes you just have to listen to somebody who has that sage wisdom. Here you go. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. Quick daylight savings tip. If you worked a late shift last night when the clocks rolled back and had to work an extra hour, make sure you check your pay stub this week and get paid for it. Computers sometimes miss it. Make sure you get paid. Don't let your labor get stolen. No, just what you want to do is you want somebody else to do the labor for you so that you don't have to do any labor at all. And that way you won't have to worry about it getting stolen. But I replied to her because, I wanted to join in on that. And I said, and remember, and remember, everyone, when it's daylight savings time again in the spring and you work an hour less, make sure you pay back the money you got when you work the extra hour. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I know. I just couldn't resist. I had to do it. The woman is, I don't know. Yeah, how stupid it was, Barbara, for her to do that. Yes. Hey, Teresa. Yeah, but she doesn't know that she's stupid at all. The woman just really, I think, believes that she is God's gift to the United States. Um, Robin is laughing. She really does think that she's helping the people somehow. So, Chicago Pops, good morning. Good to see you. A lot of liberal Dems moving from California to Texas. Yes, they are. And you better be careful when they come over there because they will, as they used to say, don't Californicate Oregon by the California people moving to Oregon. And look what happened. They did. They succeeded. Same thing is going to happen to Texas if you're not careful. Unfortunately, Californians, good tweet, Susan, Clara said, unfortunately, people move to another state out of California and they forget what they hated about the politics in California, but they take it with them. So not good at all. To the downfall of the United States, Carol said. Yep. So not good. She is narcissistic, communist. They all are, Yuri said. Yeah, somehow she doesn't quite understand that. My gosh. And some of the rallies this weekend, I didn't watch them because I didn't want to ruin my weekend. But some of them were absolutely insane, with especially Ilhan Omar. Absolutely insane. But then you knew that it would be, right? Because it's Ilhan Omar. so there you go. Let me get my chat back up here 1 second. Are we at the halfway point? If you will, go ahead and retweet. It seems like when I get to the halfway point, I seem to lose my chat and everything you guys are saying. Wonder why that is. I don't know. But if you could, they think it's the Republicans. Yeah, they don't get it at all. Go ahead and retweet this, share it with everybody, invite your followers. And we'll try to get through the second half without freezing too much. This, again, it just is going to happen with Twitter. I had huge numbers like a week before. and my numbers are back down again because they don't usually let them get over about 300 per show. So no matter what the numbers are, they don't let them get any higher than that. No federal funds to California. Well, maybe. I know that President Trump has said that before, and he tries to do that, but it doesn't seem to work. We have been Californicated here, but it was not a big stretch, Patrick said, talking about New Mexico. Yeah, you guys have had some issues there with California people coming in. It's unfortunate that California does that. Again, if they could just remember where they came from and why they left and why it's not a good thing. So, all right. So we got rid of her tweet. We got my response back. We also, there is I don't know if this is with the Periscope acting so poorly this morning, if I can get this up for you or not. I almost don't want to try it because I can see that it's frozen again. But let me try to do this. This is on Gavin Newsom. Let me see here if I can get this up for you. This is a petition to recall Gavin Newsom. And we, like I said, we are trying. It's not that we're not trying. Okay, let me try to get this refreshed. It never wants to do this right for you guys. When it comes up, when I put it in here, it's so perfect. And then when I go to play it, it doesn't really want to play. Isn't that just weird that it doesn't want to play? But anyway, let me see if I can get it. Come on, let's go. Here we go. This is a clip, if I can ever get it, from One American News. Let me see if I don't think it's going to work, but I'll try it anyway. I have to keep refreshing the page, but you can enjoy this commercial with Donald Trump in it. Just wonderful anyway.
He has well over 100,000 signatures. One America's Pearson Sharp has more as officials say support is pouring in from all over the state.
The petition.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare or who expects to join soon.
We had it.
This card I'm holding in my hand.
It's an example. Don't you agree? Commercials are great.
He has well over 100,000 signatures. One America's Pearson Sharp has more as officials say support is pouring in from all over the state.
The petition to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom is well underway, with a groundswell of support exceeding all expectations. Aaron Cruz, CEO of RAN Action Fund and the lead proponent for recalling Gavin Newsom, launched a petition to recall the governor in September after officially getting approval from the California Secretary of State. Cruz says the campaign is running strong, predicting October will be a real testament to the efforts of Californians working to recall Newsom. She explains volunteers are turning out in public venues all across the state, including gun shows, where Cruz says they've received an outpouring of support. It's been only a month since the recall was launched, and Cruz says they've already received nearly 150,000 petitions. Supporters have been lining up by the hundreds at official recall locations all over California, including places like this in Rosedale, California. Cruz predicts by the end of October, they should have almost 600,000 petitions, a quarter of the way to their goal of 2.3 million signatures. To successfully recall Newsom, 1.5 million signatures are needed, but Cruz is aiming higher for a safe margin of error. This petition from Aaron Cruz is the first petition to get certified, although there is another by San Diego Dr. James Veltmeyer that was recently approved. But for this recall to work, Cruz points out that voters need to put all their effort into one petition. Otherwise, neither one will get enough votes to succeed. With Newsom's already disastrous track record, he is quickly making a name for himself as an enemy of businesses and residents and an ally of illegal aliens and criminals. Cruz explains that the amount of support they've received so far shows Californians are ready to finally take back their state. For residents who want to get involved, Cruz urges them to visit the website www.recallgavinnow.com, where they can print out and sign a copy of.
Okay, so you see that Californians are trying. It is difficult, and the bad thing that sometimes that Californians do is they kind of split their votes and everything. You know, here she has this great petition going, and then a doctor gets another petition going. Now, I saw Aussie Nick, you ask, is it really even remotely possible to do? Well, we did it one time before. We got rid of one of our governors, Gray Out Davis, and we got rid of him, got Arnold Schwarzenegger. In Indiana, Patsy said, but listen to WHAS 840. Fair and Funny have listened to all the governor ads. The crew gives Bevin a hard time sometimes due to being so conservative and against gambling, but wow, the other guy's a total lib. Go Bevin. Abbott will not give aid in the state of sanctuary cities, not blocked. He won in court. Let's see, 50% higher than 1.5 signatures to be safe. Yeah, well, people are lining up. People are tired of it. I know some Californians who are trying to get California red again. So Brave Puzzle said California is very trying. Well, it is very trying, and we are trying to get rid of him because of the fact. I mean, look at him in the gosh. I can't even bear to look at him. He thinks he's on stage. He sits there and he rambles throughout the entire, whatever he's doing, whatever press conference. I'll ask him, hey, do you think the sun's going to come out today? Years ago when there was sun in the sky, and sometimes often it was in Indiana and sometimes it was in Washington, D.C. But there are other things that will affect the sun, and that would be the moon. I'm not kidding you. You listen to any time that he talks, and he is all over the place. Nobody knows what he's saying. And I think people just tune out because they can't take it. They just can't take it. And they are so tired of him. How would the recall process work? Good morning, Teresa. How are you? You get the petition, you turn it in. The Secretary of State has already said proceed with it, so we'd proceed with it, and then it would go on the ballot. If it eventually gets enough signatures, it would go on the ballot, and people would vote whether or not to recall the governor. Should have been actor. Puzzles. I think he is acting. I don't know that he is actually a governor. I think he's acting governor. I know. It's crazy. And you watch him, he's smiling when he shouldn't be, when it's totally inappropriate to be smiling and laughing. And it just, his affect is totally off. It's just the weirdest thing. Who becomes governor if Newsom is recalled? Linda said they would probably have to vote to put a new governor in. It's not just automatic where the lieutenant governor is going to be the governor. So they would have to have a candidate. Now, I don't know who that would be, and I haven't heard any names bantered about, so I don't know who that would be. But anything would be better than this. I mean, Brown was less liberal than Newsom, if you can believe that. And now, we've got this thing now in California. He changed all this. His wife is now not the first lady. She's the first partner. Sorry. I just can't. I just can't. So anyway, pray for people in California that we can get him out. It would be a blessing to California. It would be a blessing to all the people who voted for him, which I was not one of them, who he swore up and down he wouldn't do X, Y, and Z, and then he did. Did he want to be in movies? I have no idea. I wish he would go and be in movies, Barbara, and leave California alone. Wayne said, dang, teleprompters trying to sell insurance. Exactly. Sure, he will try and run for president one day. Oh, you can bet on it. Chicago Pops, 100%. Probably another Pelosi family member then. No, he used to be a relative of Pelosi by marriage. He no longer is. She got a divorce, and he's not anymore. Okay, moving on from California's horrible governor. This is a great picture. There's a great photo here. This is Antifa member Gage Halopowski, 24, who destroyed his own life as well as hurting other people. Antifa member, he was sentenced to nearly 6 years in prison, thank you, after pleading guilty to smashing a man in the head with a baton during street violence in Portland, Oregon in June. He pleaded guilty to second-degree assault for hitting a man named Adam Kelly, a conservative demonstrator who wrote on Facebook that the blows to his head caused a concussion as well as wounds that required 25 staples to close. The only thing that I would say about this is I don't know why this guy didn't get attempted murder charges, and maybe he did, or at least voluntary manslaughter. To me, it should have been more than 6 years. I'll take 6, but it should have been more. Hey, Rick, how are you? Tell him Alec Baldwin wants his hair back. Oh my gosh. I know Carol's like throwing up. I'm so done with PC Worth Smithery. Hey, MX Zone, how are you? Be careful, you might get Kamala. Oh, God, no. Please, Patrick, don't even go there. That's disgusting. Antifa guy, yes, Jerry. Wow, they are. Yeah. Hit him from behind too, coward. Yeah, well, I mean, did you expect anything else? And it always amazes me that these people who are Antifa in crowds like that, they always feel that they have a right to hurt someone for their own cause. Hurt someone, kill someone, it doesn't matter. Like they're going to somehow be justified, and it's going to be okay if they go and do that. I mean, it's the most insane thing. I want to help this guy. He needs a special hug from me, Michael said. Wait for his defense lawyer's comment. Sentence was too harsh. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Poor little guy. He was just, he had a hard life because mommy and daddy gave him everything. And it's not fair. Saw the video about this. Was a vicious, violent attack. Yeah, I saw the guy's head. And I mean, the guy's lucky that he didn't die or that he doesn't have severe brain damage. Because I've never seen anything so bad. And I think he had to have, 24 stitches? He's lucky it wasn't more than that. If you've seen the video or the pictures, it's just awful. Now, one of the things I want to do is I want to tell you what President Trump had to say about the governor of California. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has done a terrible job of forest management. I told him from the first day we met that he must clean his forest floors, regardless of what his bosses, the environmentalists, demand of him. Must also do burns and cut fire stoppers. Let me get another one up here. Where is that? Every year as the fires rage and California burns, it's the same thing. And then he comes to the federal government for money, help. No more. Get your act together, Governor. You don't see close to the level of burn in other states, but our teams are working well together, putting these massive and mini fires out. Great firefighters also open up the ridiculously closed water lanes coming down from the north. Don't pour it out into the Pacific Ocean. Should be done immediately. California desperately needs water, and you can have it now. See, I mean, it all makes sense, and it's very much common sense. But in order to, and I think Donald Trump may know this, but this governor, he's a climate change wacko who actually believes it's not that he's working for the environmentalists. I think if he could be an environmentalist, he would be one. He absolutely believes in, Gavin told my daddy to clean his room. Exactly. Hey, Lori, he absolutely believes in the fact that you should not touch anything, that leave everything where it is. It's bad for the environment. Don't cut down the trees, blah, 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 blah. Every year at about the end of October, we go through this every single year, and there are fires all over the place, and even sometimes in the summer, but it's more so when we have the Santa Ana winds, hot Santa Ana winds at 100-mile-an-hour gusts at times coming off the desert, and it's like throwing a match on something, whatever spark, and it just goes up in flames. So I also think, I'm not saying he's doing this intentionally, but I think that he's doing it as a part of, well, we'll just let everything go natural, and if it happens, it happens, whatever, so that they can come out and say, see there, it's all about climate change. This is all about what is happening. If it weren't for climate change, we wouldn't be having these fires. Now, how you prove that when you haven't cleaned up the area? I mean, they used to tell people to make from your home so many feet so that you can have a fire break, which makes common sense. But somehow this governor and the governor before him, who is as much a climate change wacko as he is, they just keep doing this and they just keep getting away with it. This guy, if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do and people die, I don't know about you, but we ought to be looking at prison time for some people. Save everything except humans. Exactly, Colleen. Exactly. And I've never seen such a waste of money. You know, when we had a water shortage and it was declared that we had a water shortage in the Central Valley where the agriculture is, and I understand agriculture is different, agriculture needs more water. They were wasting water. I went through that area at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon when they had the water going to the sprinklers going and the water, the irrigation. It was running out into the street. It was being wasted. They were watering these plants when it was at the heat of the day. They did everything wrong. And here the rest of us were, trying to turn off the faucets, don't have a shower every other day is what they kind of wanted you to do, and all this other stuff. It's ridiculous. And we found out too, which is common sense again, with all the money that goes into agriculture and everything else in this state, even if the people in California, which they did go ahead and conserve, it didn't make a difference. It really didn't make that much of a difference. 2 times I've lived in California, we had Santa Ana winds, but never fires like this. Yeah, the fires really started bad in 2003. That's when it all kind of really got started, and it's gone downhill and gotten a lot worse since then. All right, so I like the president just telling Newsom what he ought to do. I don't think he's going to listen. Clara said even Mother Nature needs a cleanse now and then. Clara, everybody knows that if you live in a house and you let trash pile up in your house because, you're an environmentalist, you don't want to throw anything away, and it's climate change making you to put the trash in the house and not outside, or because you're going to save the land outside. You're going to know that if you do that, eventually, if somebody drops a match or somebody does something that makes a spark, your whole house is going to go up in flames really quickly because you have allowed trash to gather all over the floor of your house. It's common sense. Everybody knows that, except the governor. Worshipping the creation instead of the creator. That's right, Rick. It's a money scheme, Pamela said. Let to H2O flow, yeah. In surrounding San Diego and LA, they cut and cleared every year. Yeah, they don't do so much of that anymore, which, again, I think it's criminal. Grab a hose. You can't grab a hose because if something happens and your house is on fire and you grab a hose, you're taking the water away from the firefighters that come in to try to save the property. God owns climate change. Colleen, climate changes all the time. When I was growing up in North Carolina on the East Coast, the climate would change. Some years it would be warmer than others. Some years it would be colder than others. And that was before we even talked about climate change or global warming or anything else. I mean, climate has changed since the beginning of time. It's called what God does. God's in control of that. We as man, we don't know how to do what God knows how to do so much better than we do. You know why that is? Let me tell you, because God created us and everything, every bit of knowledge that we have and everything else. So anything that we learn from God. We've got educated because God educated us and gave us the brains to have it. But God is always superior to man. And man always forgets that. I don't know why. These transhumanists who want to be gods and replace parts of their body with different parts and this and that. No. Sorry. God didn't create you to do that, and you're trying to become God. It's not going to work. The other part of the story is controlling the water the way they do in California with dams. What dams, Carol? They just let the water go back in the ocean. Which, is so ridiculous. Israel even said, hey, we'll come and help you. We'll help you learn how to conserve water. And no, thank you, Israel. We know how to do that better than you here in California. This year is a great example, Janice said. Yep. NOAA said there has been no warming since 2005. Yep. Colleen said, Susan, exactly. You're absolutely correct. Amen, Yuri said. So, it's going to get crazier. We all know that. You just got to prepare yourself and know God's in charge. Amen. God is in control. Absolutely, Kim. And keep understanding that and keep looking up, because they forget God or they don't believe in God. either one, Barbara. Days of Noah, Rick said, yep. Put a pump in a swimming pool. Well, and you know that in some states, they won't allow you to gather the water and conserve the water. Remember that? I don't know what states they were, but I remember under Obama, they started that and they wouldn't allow you to save water. Now, that's not like that in California yet. But you couldn't even, rainwater. We don't get that much rain, but we couldn't even, in some states, they wouldn't even allow you to take that water and save it and conserve it. Israel does it better than the USA. Colleen, Israel is sitting out there in a desert and they got all the water that they need. California should have taken them up on that and in a quick hurry and allowed them to come and show them what needs to be done. We'd have plenty of water by now. That's why it's climate change and not global warming anymore. Exactly. And again, Carol, as you probably know, they want to have this climate change. It's a way of trying to bring the entire world together. 2030 agenda stresses this as well. And it's a way to bring in, as the Bible talks about, that one world government. And that's where we're headed to. So just the way it is. And, God said this was going to happen. And by golly, as they say, it is happening. Okay. So also on the weekend, the McDonald's CEO and president, I don't know if you heard about this, Steve Easterbrook, he left his role in the company as of Sunday after he revealed in an email to employees that he had engaged in a consensual relationship with an employee, which is a violation of company rules. I don't understand why people can't keep it in their pants, why they have to go after employees, why you do that. Susan Knowles for governor of California. Yeah, I don't have enough money for that, Rick. You got to have a lot of money. And a guy who just ran for governor in California had a personality of a pencil, but he had a lot of money. And he didn't win putting up all that money. It's the government holding us back, Clara said. Yeah, typically, yeah, he got fired. Israel uses the earth to make HTO. Israel just knows what they're doing, Colleen, in that area and a lot of other areas, but they really know what they're doing. And again, California lets the water just go back down into the ocean. It's just like whenever there's a rain, there it goes. So we could have had a lot of water by now conserved. So out goes McDonald's guy. I don't know what he's going to do now. Probably start his own company. I would imagine, because it's going to be hard to get a job when everybody thinks you're going to be sleeping around with the employees. But what are you going to do? Maybe not sleep with employees and not sleep with interns and staffers. I don't know. Just saying, that would be a good thing to do. All right. Now here's this guy, Mark Sidney. He said, so I cannot post on my Facebook pages 5 to 6 million fans until after the elections Tuesday. No reason given, no appeal, no reply via email. Many other Facebook political page owners have reported the same thing happening to them. Real Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz, Ted Cruz, where are you? So this is the Donald Trump is our president page. He's got a page and a group. You can see just barely, but it says you're temporarily restricted. They just cut him off until after the election, and he's not allowed to post. And he's not going to be able to do anything to help the elections all over the country. So he can't help Matt Bevin. He can't help anybody else. So that's ridiculous. And look for that to happen more and more and more. I mean, it's going to take place. It's happening. People on Facebook all the time, and it's getting more and more prevalent. And you know that some of the people who aren't on Facebook anymore, Laura Loomer, people that you may not agree with, and some people that I don't necessarily follow and watched, but Alex Jones is one example. But it's called First Amendment, and people ought to be able to be on there and say what they want to say within reason, if they're not hurting anybody or advocating violence or whatever. But that's not the case. So we want to hear from you right now. Well, you're hearing from me right now, Scott. You are hearing from me right now. According to local papers, McDonald's CEO is getting a nice buyout for resigning. Oh, I'm sure. I said that to my husband last night at Chicago Pops, that this guy, he's not going to need any money. He's going to have all the money that he wants because he's going to get an amazing buyout. And that should have been something they put into the contract, that if you sleep with the employees or do something like that, you get zero. That's what it should be. Janice said, we can help, and we do. Yes. So anyway, I don't know if you guys have anything else further to say, but I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And Twitter posts are disappearing as soon as they appear. Yeah, Clara's having a big difficulty in her posts. My posts are ending up in the show more replies on Twitter, so you won't necessarily see what I tweet out to other people unless you click on the show more replies, because they're putting mine down there because I have been I guess I'm just a person who is the tweets are dangerous, or I don't know what it's supposed to be. But anyway, okay, Renee, have a great one. So it's one of those I don't want to see. Laura Loomer is polling ahead of Democratic Louis, is it Lois or Louis Frankel? Lois, I guess. Frankel in Palm Beach, and raise more money too. Wow. Well, we'll see what happens with Laura Loomer. That would be something. Have a blessed day, Susan. You too, happy mentalists. Okay, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Pray for Matt Bevin to take Kentucky. Enjoy the rally tonight. Please retweet this and share it if you will. And take advantage of getting the book, the My Ears Are Not Like Yours book at Amazon.com. You can see that if you go back to the very beginning of the podcast. And also take advantage of onboardwith.com and getting your 10% off a minimum $20 purchase. All right. All right, everybody. Take care. See you tomorrow. God bless.